Hey amigos, how you guys doing? Thanks for tuning in again, and I really hope you enjoyed that last video. And if you haven't seen it, it is that video right there, which is our trip to Born Free number 3 again, and it was a pretty good time. But nevertheless, check this out. This is what I'm doing today. See this bike right here? Yeah, check it out. The shovel head's back on the rack. Imagine that, just like all shovel heads like to be on the rack. Maybe not all of them. Seems to be mine though. So anyway, what am I doing? Well, what I'm doing is, well, those of you who have a shovel head, you know, one with a dry primary, always dealt with the whole lurching issue, starting off from a stop sign or a red light, or from, you know, 0 to whatever speed. You let out on the clutch and it wants to lurch forward. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about, especially you guys who have a dry primary. You guys who don't have a dry primary, being a wet primary, don't have to deal with that. But anyway, I always had an issue with this thing wanting to lurch forward no matter how well I adjusted my clutch springs or whatever. And once upon a time, which I didn't film it, I tried this thing right here, which is what is called a ramjet. And in this ramjet, there's a certain depths of holes in here. Not all the holes get utilized, only the ones that line up with the, you know, with the fingers that are on your clutch hub. And it seemed like the holes that lined up the best, that is, were deep enough for my little groove on my fingers to come out past, well, you know what I mean, so I can fit a snap ring. Well, this thing was still too tight. It would press up against my clutch basket. That is when I push on my clutch pedal. And anyway, I mean, it would take off, but it would never really fully let go of the clutch basket. And I would always have issues with trying to shift the thing. It was just too hard to shift. So I decided to heck with this. So I threw it back up on the shelf and decided to just deal with the lurching. Well, I'm a little bit tired of the lurching. The cause for that is, well, let me see if I can do this. Now the lighting's not very good, but I hope this can come out on the camera. I can push on the clutch pressure plate comes out, and when it does, I don't know if you can see, but there's some movement on this basket. As you can hear that. Yeah. So typically what happens when the clutch is depressed, that is, the pressure plate comes out, sometimes the clutch basket wants to follow the clutches out, and sometimes I have a little bit of clutch drag when I'm sitting at a red light, or even though I always try to practice the scenario of finding neutral before I get to a red light, but sometimes I just don't find it in time. But nevertheless, you guys know about the clutch drag at a stop, or even the lurching. Well, I found this deal over here. I saw a scenario on YouTube where a guy made a video with this kit called a Clutch Tamer kit, and what it is all these pieces and parts. Supposedly this goes up against the clutch basket, and well, this first up against the basket, and then this goes in there like that, and it goes into the clutch basket, and then you put your nut right there. Of course, you use Loctite. You won't be able to use the lock tabs. And it came with an extra steel disc because apparently there's some thickness on here that's going to cause a gap. So it came with this right here, and it also came with some shims to make sure you got the right amount of in play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to utilize that kit right there and put it into, well, not try, I am going to utilize that kit to see how well it does, and put it into my clutch basket and see how it goes. Oh, and by the way, if this thing works, the link to the vendor on eBay where I bought this thing from is going to be in the link below. So anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to get to doing this. Now, in case you're wondering what this piece is that I used to compress the spring plate to the pressure plate so that all the springs don't pop out, all this is right here is the chain or belt adjuster plate for the swing arm, or the back side of the swing arm to a Sportster. So if you have one of these laying around, or you can use a bunch of washers, or you can use the plate to a valve on a shovel head, like a spring plate to a valve, or whatever you call it. Anyway, you can use that. So I happen to have one of these, so I just use that to, you know, save myself from cleaning up a mess. Got the friction plates on the box sitting right there. Got my clutch basket all cleaned out. Well, not necessarily cleaned out, but you know. And to save myself some guesswork as far as how to put this thing together, as far as what goes in, like namely, do I need to keep this retainer plate with the springs and stuff? Honestly, I can't remember, but I did see a video on it. So I'm going to go in and watch the video, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I saw the video, and the video is about 2 years old. But nevertheless, the information is very helpful. So apparently I can keep that little retaining plate on there. But what I do need to do, yeah, for certain I need to get these springs out of here. But I can, like I said, keep this plate right here. So let me go find a screwdriver and I can do that. Okay, that took a little patience. It really wasn't all that hard, but you know, anyway, it just took a second to remember how to, you know, the magic touch to get them to pop out. But there they are, laying right there. So what I got to do next is get that nut off of there. So let me get to doing that. Okay, like I said, the kit came with an extra steel, and what's going to happen is I'm just going to go ahead and put this thing in here like this. Actually, I'm not going to do that first. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to put these in first. This aluminum piece, this plastic piece, and apparently this plastic piece goes here. I'm really sorry for the lighting, by the way, but I hope you guys can see. And I'm going to take this cup piece and I'm going to put it through like that. And then I'm just going to run it in like this, like that. And then I'm going to take my nut without my lock washer, and then I'm just going to stick it on here like this, and I'm just going to torque it down, not all the way down, but just enough to make it tight. I'm just going to hold on to this. Alright, and it should be about 10 to 15 thousandths or so here. So I'm going to measure that. I've got a little bit of corrosion on my feeler gauges, so I can hardly read them. Well, that's 15 thou right there. So let's try 15 thou. Alright, 15 got in there. But you know what? I think I want 10. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe 15 should be good. Because this can't come... Oh no, I'm going to try for 10. Okay, off camera I was able to put almost like a 19 thousandths feeler gauge behind that flange right there. So what tells me is that that cup is bottomed out on the hub with the nut on there, you know, with a little bit of torque. And so this kit came with 2 different kinds of shims. So if the cup was too short, it came with these shims to put on the back side of the cup, and then the nut on, you know, basically this goes behind the cup, between the cup and the hub. But if the cup is too long, it came with these shims to go around the, you know, the circular part of the cup, which I'll show you. But anyway, these things are 10 thousandths of an inch thick a piece, and like I said, I was able to put 19 thousandths shim in there, which tells me I could probably put a 20 in there. I mean, I could barely angle it up in there, so I'm guessing if I put one of these in there, I might be right where I want to be. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. Okay, so it's a little too tight. So I'm guessing that I'm going to have to do a little bit of a combination between these and these right here. So I don't know. Let's see. I'll check right back with you guys in a second. This is the next day, and I got the fooling with the shimming on this clutch basket, and apparently every one of these shims, there's many of them, they are 10 thousandths thick. The same goes for these guys here. So anyway, what I've done is I've experimented, and the best I can get is, well, on the video, well, let me back up. On the video that I watched, they said you want at least somewhere between 10 to 15 thousandths of end play on your clutch basket. Well, I was able to fit a 15 back here real easily, but then I used a 19, and I could barely get a 19 behind it, you know? So I shimmed it up with a 10 thousandths spacer or a shim, and I couldn't even get a 10 or a 5 or a 9 in it or anything like that. So anyway, I fiddled with it and fiddled with it with different spacers. So I don't know, 19, a really tight 19. Well, I don't know if that extra 4 thousandths beyond 15 is going to hurt it that much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see how it does, because I can't seem to do any better than that. It would have been nice if like some of these shims were like different sizes instead of all of them being 10 thousandths. But doesn't matter. It may work as is, it may not, I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and put these clutches back together. Okay, I got the clutch all back together. As you can see, I won't really know how well it works until I ride it, and I'm not going to ride it tonight because it's wet right now. It's been raining all day, and it's, you know, like I said, it's tonight. I don't really want to ride it at night right now anyhow. So I guess maybe tomorrow, maybe on the way to work tomorrow, I'll record it, or after I get off work, or I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Alright, it is a few days later, and I am not going to take this thing on a ride to work, because who the heck wants to ride a motorcycle to work, especially when you live so close to it like I do, right? So close to work, that is. So the last thing I want to do on a motorcycle, as far as destination, is go to work, because that's no fun. Talk about a killjoy, you know, especially the first thing in the morning. But anyway, let's see if this thing starts. It is a little temperamental, being how I made it, kind of like Frankenstein, you know. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 pumps. Choke up, throttle wide open, 4 primes, 1 or 3 primes. All right, ignition on, 1 more pump. Oh, okay, cool. First hit, how about that? I mean, what were the odds of that? That usually doesn't happen, you know, first kick with the ignition on, but maybe I figured out the sequence. Instead of 3 pumps of the throttle, maybe 4, who knows? But anyway, blah, 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 blah. I will say this is the moment of truth. It is, you know, I'm kind of nervous. Was this work for nothing? I don't know. But, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I think the motor's hot enough. Here we go. Oh, wow. No jerky. That's pretty cool. I think I need to adjust that clutch a little bit. I had to tilt my foot back just a bit more than usual just to get the thing to engage. But then again, maybe that's just because of where it jerks at. I don't know. Oh wow, a little bit of jerk, but nothing drastic. So far, not too hard to shift. That's pretty freaking cool. Heck yeah. I wonder if I solved my issue. Now there is another clutch out there. I think I might have mentioned it. It's the Rivera Primo clutch. It actually uses a clutch diaphragm spring, and it looks a lot like, as far as the clutch discs and the steels, it look a lot like that which is on an Evo. I did look into that. I think I said that, but like, again, for the money, I got this instead. It jerks a little bit, engaging into first. Okay, we're coming up to a red light. We'll see what happens here. That's pretty cool. Finding neutral isn't too hard to do. And it looks like everybody's getting off of work. Traffic is happening at the moment. And I'm glad I got somebody to the left of me, so this light will pick up motorcycles. Because usually this light won't pick up a bike. Alright, guess it's my turn. And it's not dragging forward. Look, it's going backwards while I'm in first. A little bit of jerky. But it is a lot smoother. I guess I can't complain too much about that. Downshift's okay. It was in the second okay. Third. Fourth. And we're cruising along. Yeah, I can dig it. It's a little better taking off. Makes it more like my favorite bike again to take a ride on. I mean, there's been days where I just did not want to contend with taking off in first at a leap or a jerk or whatever. Hey, look, there's the missus. Hi, missus. She's just getting off work. Anyway, those of you who have a dry primary on whatever your bike is, or whether it be a chopper or shovelhead or anything like that, know what I'm talking about with the whole jerky thing. This is a lot better. Let's see how it does at the next stop sign. Okay, now if I let it out nice and easy and not expecting too much, that is, I think I was a little optimistic, a little too optimistic, that is, with how well it was going to work. So if I let out too fast, it still has a little bit of a jerk, but it's not as atrocious as it was. And this guy is ruining my fun. Okay, yeah, I'm in fourth gear now. And we got another chaperone up ahead. Oh well, I guess I can't expect too much, you know, with this going home traffic from work. Wow, I can't seem to get over that. That's pretty cool. It's like it wants to act like a normal motorcycle. That is, when it comes to letting out on the clutch. I think I'm just about satisfied with that. I guess I can save myself the money as far as buying that $600+ Rivera Primo clutch kit. But then again, you never know. I mean, I do plan on keeping this motorcycle. It's not like I'm going to get rid of it anytime soon. And truth be known, you know, the hard fact is I may have gotten a good deal on this bike when I first got it, and it really was a good deal, but I'm pretty sure I've spent a lot more into it. I've probably put more into this motorcycle since I've had it than what I paid for it. So I know if I ever want to try and get rid of it, I'm not going to get any kind of money out of it as far as what I put into it. So I might as well just hold on to this thing. I mean, I know good and well if I get rid of it that I'm definitely going to miss it. I mean, this is one of these bikes where you have to own it for a long time to actually know it very well. I mean, the reason why I say that is because you're not going to own a bike like this without getting to know it, because it's going to make you get to know it. I mean, I went through the ringer with this bike the first 6 months to a year that I've had it. I'm not saying I'm done with it. I'm not saying it's not going to throw me any more curveballs or anything like that. But it's definitely a motorcycle that I have had to get to learn, and because I've gotten to learn it, there's things I have to keep an eye out for, like, you know, certain fluid levels. I mean, whether your old bike smokes oil or leaks oil or doesn't do either bit, you're going to lose oil levels between oil changes. And also the transmission, and I don't know where the oil goes on the transmission. It doesn't leave any on the ground or anything like that. But I definitely got to keep an eye on that, because I tell you what, I've gone through 2 throwout bearings, and I think it might just be because I didn't keep an eye on the oil levels. And also keeping an eye on fasteners, because I'll tell you what, I've had the front brakes fall off on me one time, and too bad it wasn't on camera. That would have been a video right there, because when that happened, it was a good thing it was the time of the day it was, because I was going north and it was in the afternoon, and where the sun was shining, I could see my shadow on the road, and I could see the shadow of the brake caliper just dangling like this. So I knew exactly what was going on, so I just pulled over and I had enough slack in my brake line to drape it over the headlight and just go home on the rear brake. And another time I had the rear axle nut fall off. I didn't even know that was a thing, because I mean, I rode all the way to Texas and back and all over everywhere, and didn't even know that that thing was even coming loose. So I'm just glad it happened where it happened, because it was in a residential area going about 20 miles an hour. I mean, the axle had worked itself out just enough where it would unhook from the swing on the other side, and the wheel just cocked just like that. I mean, I almost wrecked, and I even had the missus on the back with me. So anyway, that's another thing to keep an eye on. And also, the most notorious things to come loose are the nuts that hold the exhaust pipes onto the head. So on this one especially, it's like on the rear one for some odd reason, but I got 2 nuts on that one, so hopefully that'll keep the nut from backing off. And also rear exhaust mount braking, I had it break on me going to Texas, but the last time I actually had the bolt fall out. But actually, I don't think the bolt fell out as much as it did. I think it just broke off, because there was no way that thing could have just backed off, because I had just checked it not long before it got missing. So this time I have a grade 8 bolt in there, and it's a longer bolt with 2 nuts on the other side that are stacked up on top of each other. So let's just kind of hope that don't happen again. And what's another thing? You know, neck bearings, these bolts coming loose. If I had them come loose, this thing comes loose every so often. Also, just knowing what the motor can handle, you know. I mean, I tend to try to keep this thing cruising between 2,500 RPM and 3,000 RPM. I know if I keep it above 3 for too long, that's usually when stuff really comes loose or breaks loose or stuff like that. I was also told by some old timers that, and some of you might disagree with it, the rod bearings don't like it that much to take those high RPMs for too long. But then again, I mean, what do I know? I haven't experienced it, but then again, I'm not that willing to experience some internal engine failure just because I was cruising too hard. Because I do know above 3,000 RPM, you know, 3,000 RPM itself is 70 miles an hour. Now, I don't mind going above 3 grand if I'm passing somebody or if I'm just going through the gears, because that's one thing, but to keep it above that, I mean, this is pretty much a sit back and smell the roses motorcycle right here. I mean, it's a product of its time, you know what I mean? So, anyway, oh, one more chance to start off from 0. Oh, and look, more going to home traffic. Here we go. Oh man, what a dream. This is pretty awesome. I can really dig this. And wouldn't you know it, this guy is a chaperone, keeping me cruising at 2,000 RPMs, which is no fun at all. 2,000 RPM is about, I don't know, 45, 50 miles an hour, I think. I don't know. But the way the motor feels, it likes to cruise between 25 and 3,000. All right, nobody's coming. So anyway, I don't know how else to tell you about this bike, but that is as far as the clutch goes, but I really dig it. Again, it looks like my go-to bike once more for whenever I want to go ride, because there's sometimes I just did not want to contend with the jerkiness of that clutch. I knew it was just a matter of time one day I was going to have to do transmission work to it, or maybe have a broken belt, or leaky transmission seals, stuff like that. Now I can see the life being prolonged on all of that stuff. So that's really cool. So anyway, I don't know how else to tell you, but I'll see you guys at the house. All right? Oh, maybe I can turn that idle down. Just that little bit did that. Okay, well, that was kind of cool. I guess this thing is a lot more of a dream to control, or at least controlling the clutch. So that's kind of cool. So again, the guy's video who I was talking about, who does a better, you know, illustration of how to install it as far as the kit goes, the link is down below, and also the link is down below of the eBay vendor who sells that kit. So they don't know I'm talking about them, but maybe I'll go and send them a message telling them I sent traffic their way if you're looking for something like that. Obviously I'm not sponsored. So anyway, I guess this is a happy bike. Once again, I don't know what else to say other than you guys keep the rubber side down and you be good to yourselves, and thanks a lot.